Dear students, today we will discuss autocoads and related drugs. Autocoads are the self-healing substances, or we can say these are the self-healing remedy. It is made up of two words, auto and acos. Autocoads are provided by wide variety of cell having variety of biological activities but generally act locally. Therefore, these substances are also known as local hormones. These are having the similarity with the hormones because hormones are produced by specific cells and these autocoads are also produced by the specific cells, and these are also transported via the blood to the distant places. These are involved in number of physiological and pathophysiological processes, like especially in reaction to injury and immunological results. These also served as transmitter or modulators in the nervous system. Classification of autocoads. These autocoads are we can say classified based on their chemical structure, chemical nature. Mainly three types. First one is the amine autocoads. Example is histamine and 5-hydroxytryptamine. Second one, lipid derived autocoad. Example is prostaglandin, leukotrienes, platelet activating factors. These are the major autocoads which are responsible for the inflammation as well as increase in body temperature. Peptide autocoads. Examples are plasma kinins and angiotensin. Apart from these three major autocoads, few more autocoads are also there, which are neither amine, peptide or lipid. These are interleukins and TNF alpha and gastrin. Today we will discuss one autocoad, that is histamine, and few antihistamines. Histamines is made up of two words, hist and amine. Hist means tissue. It means the amines generated by the tissues. These are mostly present in animals and in certain plants, mostly present within the granules of mast cells. Based on the formation of histamine, two types of histamine, mast cell histamine and non-mast cell histamine. Mast cell histamines occurs in skin, gastric mucosa, intestinal mucosa, lungs, liver and placenta. Second one is the non-mast cell histamine, mainly present in brain, epidermis, gastric mucosa and growing regions. There is a difference between mast cell histamine and non-mast cell histamine. The turnover of mast cell histamine is slow, but the turnover of non-mast cell histamine is fast. Apart from these two, mast cell and non-mast cell histamine, few histamines are also present in other areas like blood, most body secretion and pathophysiological fluids. Synthesis, or we can say biosynthesis of histamine. Histamine is basically beta imidazole ethylamine. It is synthesized locally from an amino acid histidine, and further it is degraded by the oxidation and methylation process. As we have discussed, this histamine is beta imidazole ethylamine. It is held by an acidic portion and heparin, that is negative charged, with intracellular granules. histamine releases by a process that is exocytosis. In mast cell histamine within the granules, it is extruded by the exocytosis. Mast cell can be degranulated and releases histamine by the antigen antibody complex formed in an immediate allergic reaction. Now, the storage of histamine. Histamine is stored in mainly three pools or types of specific or storage sites. The first one is the granules of mast cell and basophils. In mast cell, it is bound to heparin and serotonin in inactive form. Second one, in the mucosal cell of GI tract, which cannot be depleted by histamine releaser. Third one, in the cells of hypothalamus and the area of postrema, and it is depleted by the reserpine. Apart from these three pools, histamine is also present in some nerves, nerve endings and synaptic vesicles. Metabolism of histamine. Histamine is metabolized by the process of methylation. By the process of methylation, it is being converted into N1-methyl histamine by the help of an enzyme imidazole N-methyl transferase. 1-methyl histamine is again converted into methyl histamine and methyl imidazole acetic acid. Methyl histamine is approximately 4 to 8% and methyl imidazole acetic acid is approximately 42 to 47%. Few free histamine is always present, that is approximately 2 to 3%. This histamine is being oxidized by the diamine oxidase and converted into imidazole acetic acid. The concentration of imidazole acetic acid is 16 to 28%. Various metabolites of histamine having very little or no pharmacological activity, and one thing is common for all these metabolites, that is, all these metabolites are being excreted via urine. Next, how this histamine acts in our system. These histamines are mainly act via the receptors. There are specific receptors of histamine. Major two types of receptors, that is postsynaptic receptors named as H1 receptor and H2 receptor. H1 receptor is present in smooth muscles, blood vessels, and H2 receptors are present in gastric glands, blood vessels, heart and uterus. Apart from postsynaptic receptor, one presynaptic receptor is also present, that is H3 receptor, that is distributed in the brain, lungs, spleen and skin. A new receptor found in the year 2001, that is H4 receptor, which is mainly present in eosinophil, mast cell, basophils. H4 receptors activation enhances chemotaxis of these cells, may play a role in allergic inflammation. Now, the agonist and antagonist of Histamine, agonist and antagonist are being classified based on the receptor present in various tissues. H1 receptor antagonist and agonist, H2 receptor agonist and H3 receptor agonist. H1 receptor agonists are 2-methylhistamine, 2-pyridyl ethylamine, 2-thiazolyl ethylamine, and the antagonist of these H1 receptor are mepyramine and chlorpheniramine. H2 receptor agonists are 4-methylhistamine, dimiprid and imiprimidine. The antagonist of H2 receptor are cimetidine and ranitidine, very common drug for the control of acidity, or we can say these drugs are used as an anti-ulcer drug for the peptic ulcer. H3 receptor agonists are alpha-methylhistamine and emetic. Their antagonists are thiopyramide, imiprimidine, clobinoprid. These receptors H1, H2, H3 receptors, these are from same class of receptor, that is the GPCR receptor. It means G protein couple receptor. But these three receptors, their effector pathways are different. These H1 receptor agonist and antagonist, their effector pathway is PIP2 hydrolysis via IP3 and DAG. H2 receptor agonist and agonist, their effector pathway is adenylyl cyclase activation. H3 receptor, they restricting calcium influx and activating the potassium channels. By these way, these are having their activity. Now the pharmacological action of histamine, it is secreted in various tissues, or we can say in almost all the tissues of the system. The first one is blood vessels. It causes marked dilation of smaller blood vessels, including arterioles, capillaries and venules. But in the large arterioles and veins, having different effect, that is constriction, and mediated by H1 receptor. Intradermal injection of histamine causes a triple response, that is flush, flare and wheal. Flush is the red spot, flare is the redness in the surrounding area, and that occurs due to the arteriole dilation. Wheal is due to the exudation of fluid from capillaries and venules. Effect on the heart, it increases the rate and force of contraction. Next, effect on the visceral smooth muscles, it causes bronchoconstriction. At large dose, it causes abdominal cramp, smooth muscle contraction via H1 response. Glands effect, it increases the gastric secretion through H2 receptor. Pathophysiological role of histamine, having various roles, as we have discussed that H2 receptors are present in the glands. It means it increases the gastric acid secretion. It is having a role in allergic phenomena. Whenever any allergic reaction in the body are there, we found that the concentration of histamine is more. It also acts as a transmitter Whenever the inflammation is there, there is a high concentration of histamine, it having the role in the tissue growth and repair. Moreover, it is having a role in the headache due to certain vascular headache. In inflammation, it is having a role. It is a mediator of vasodilation and it promotes adhesion of leukocytes. As a transmitter, it is afferent transmitter which initiate the secretion of itch, pain at sensory nerve endings. In allergic phenomena, it is having a major role. It mediates, or we can say the modulates hypersensitivity reaction, causative in urticaria, angioedema, bronchoconstriction and anaphylactic shock. Usage of histamine as a drug, it does not have any therapeutic value. In the past, it was used to test acid secreting capacity of stomach, bronchial hypersensitivity, diagnosis of pheochromocytoma. But now these days, these tests are obsolete due to high risk. One agonist of histamine, that is beta histine, it is orally active, H1 selective histamine analog and used to control vertigo in the patients of Meniere's disease. Possibly it acts by causing vasodilation in the internal ear, but it having the contraindication in asthmatic patient and ulcer patients. Brand name of this beta histine which is available is Vertine, available in 8 mg tablet. This is all about histamine, agonist, antagonist, role of histamine in the body, uses and pathophysiological functions. This is today's class. Thank you. Antihistaminics. Antihistaminics are the drugs which can block the receptors of histamine. They act mainly via the receptors. As we have discussed in the last class, histamine receptors are of two types, H1 receptor and H2 receptors. The chemicals which blocks the H1 receptors are known as H1 receptor antagonist. The action of antihistaminics can be antagonized by three ways: by preventing or reducing the release of histamine, example glucocorticoid; second, by receptor antagonism, antihistaminics; and by using physiological antagonists, by the use of adrenaline. All the antihistaminics are competitive antagonists at the histamine receptor and can be divided into two groups based on the receptor, H1 receptor antagonist and H2 receptor antagonist. Both the H1 receptor antagonist and H2 receptor antagonists do not influence the formation of release of histamine, but selectively and competitively antagonizes its action at the specific receptor site. Today we will focus on H1 receptor antagonist. It is of two types, first generation antagonist and second generation antagonist. First generation antagonists are having the sedative property, but the second generation is not having the sedative property. first generation antagonists. These are highly sedative, moderately sedative, and mild sedative. We can say this first generation antihistaminics are classified into three: highly sedative, moderately sedative, and mild sedative. Highly sedative examples are diphenhydramine, dimenhydramine, promethazine, and hydroxyzine. Moderately sedative antihistaminics are phenramine, cyproheptadine, maclizine, voclizine, and synergine. Mild sedative are chlorpheniramine, dexchlorpheniramine, dimethadine, cyclizine, etc. Second generation antihistaminics are fexofenadine, loratadine, desloratadine, cetirizine, levocetirizine, agilastine, mesalastine, etc. The pharmacological action of antihistaminics, mainly H1 receptor antagonist. Antagonism of histamine, they effectively block bronchoconstriction, contraction of intestinal and other smooth muscles, as well as triple response, that is flush, flare, and wheal. Low dose of antihistaminics antagonizes the fall of BP, but it needs H2 blockers also to counter high dose fall in BP. Constriction of large vessels also antagonized. Gastric secretion is unchanged because in gastric mucosa or in the glands there are H2 receptor. Therefore, this H1 receptor antagonists are not having any effect on the acid secretion. Next effect is the anti-allergic action. Manifestation of type 1 hypersensitivity reaction, that is suppressed. Urticaria, itching, angioedema is controlled. Anaphylactic fall in BP is partially prevented. Asthma in human, it doesn't having any effect because there are so many mediators are present in the asthma. Effect on the CNS, it's having variable degree of CNS depression. It depends on individual drug. Ability to cross blood-brain barrier and CNS. Peripheral H1 receptor affinity. There is an inter-individual variation. Some individual stimulant effect, restlessness, and insomnia, but the second generation are not having the sedating property. Promethazine controls motion sickness, but its mechanism is unknown. It can also be used in the prevention of vomiting during the pregnancy. Promethazine controls rigidity and tremor in Parkinsonism. Anticholinergics, many are anticholinergic properties like promethazine. Among them, promethazine is having the highest activity. Additive action with the atropine and tricyclic antidepressant, etc. Local anesthetic effect, phenramine is having the membrane stabilizing effect, but not used because due to the irritation property. Blood pressure, fall in BP with IV injection, but not as a oral dose. Pharmacokinetic of H1 receptor antagonists. These are lipid soluble and well absorbed orally as well as parenterally. Metabolism of these antihistaminics are in the liver and excreted mainly via the urine. They are widely distributed in the body, enters brain and crosses blood-brain barrier. It induces microsomal hepatic enzyme. Duration of action is approximately 4 to 6 hours, except cetirizine, loratadine and fexofenadine. They are well absorbed and all are excreted mainly unmetabolized form. The cetirizine and loratadine are primarily excreted in urine. Fexofenadine primarily excreted in the feces. Adverse drug reaction of H1 receptor antagonist. These adverse reactions are frequent but mild in nature. There are inter-individual differences to different drugs. The major adverse events are the sedation, diminished alertness, loss to concentration, dizziness, motor incoordination, tendency to fall asleep is the very common. Therefore, there is a restriction and the physicians are saying don't drive after taking this H1 receptor antagonist. With the alcohol, it's having a synergistic effect. Allergic reactions with topical use like contact dermatitis, peripheral and anti-muscarinic effects like dryness of mouth, blurred vision, constipation, urinary retention, and epigastric distress as well as headache. Due to the overdose of antihistaminics, there are some acute reactions like CNS excitation, tremor, hallucination. It resembles like atropine poisoning due to respiratory failure and serious failure. Therapeutic usage of H1 receptor antihistaminic. These are mainly used for the allergic reaction, but it does not suppresses the antigen antibody reaction, but blocks the release of histamine. Therefore, it is used for the itching, urticaria, seasonal hay fever, allergic conjunctivitis, angioedema of lips, eyelid, etc. It also used for the anaphylactic shock. It is less effective in the perennial vasomotor rhinitis, atopic dermatitis and chronic dermatitis. In bronchial asthma, it's having no use because there are so many mediators also involved in the bronchial asthma. Other conditions like insect bite, heavy poisoning and symptomatic relief. It is also used for the common cold, for the symptomatic relief, and the older generation यानी कि first generation drugs are preferable. In motion sickness, there is a drug promethazine, diphenhydramine, dimenhydramine and cyclazine are being used, and it should be administered 1 hour before the journey. Promethazine is used for the morning sickness and drug induced as well as post-operative vomiting and radiation vomiting. Synergine is the drug which is used for the vertigo. It is a drug of choice for the pre-anesthetic medication. There are so many cough repression which are having the chlorpheniramine malate, diphenhydramine, promethazine, etc. In the Parkinsonism also, this promethazine is used in acute muscular dystonia. Parenteral promethazine and antidopaminergic and antipsychotic drugs are used. Sedative hypnotics, promethazine is being used. Respiratory depression, but should not be used for the children below the 2 years of age. Second generation antihistaminics.
Today we will discuss 5-hydroxytryptamine.
The second generation antihistaminics are being
5-hydroxytryptamine
come in the picture after 1980. it's having the higher affinity for the
name
H1 receptor
serotonin was
and
given
doesn't
for
having anticholinergic
vasoconstrictor
side
substances
effects.
appeared in the serum
Absence
when
of
blood
CNS
clots,
depressant property.
and
There is
enteramine
additional
to the smooth muscles
anti-allergic
contracting substances present
leukotrienes
in the
and PF inhibitors.
enterochromaffin cells of the gut mucosa.
These second generation
Both
antihistaminics
the
are having so
chemicals
many
is
advantages
found
over
that
the first
it is
generation
5-hydroxytryptamine.
antihistaminics. These are no psychomotor
About
impairment
90% of the total 5-hydroxytryptamine
and can be
of the
allowed
body content are
during
present
the
in
driving.
intestine, and
No
rest
subjective
is in the brain
effect.
and plus
no
platelets.
sleep induction.
It is
And
also found
it
in wasp
doesn't
and scorpion sting
potentiate
and widely
benzodiazepine
distributed
and alcohol, etc.
in various plants
This
such
is all
as
about the
banana,
antihistaminics.
pear, pineapple,
you.
and tomato. Biosynthesis of 5-hydroxytryptamine. 5-hydroxytryptamine, the precursor molecule is tryptophan. This 5-HT is also, the chemical name is beta aminoethyl 5-hydroxyindole. So it is synthesized from amino acid tryptophan, degraded by MAO and small extent by dehydrogenase. It is stored within storage vesicles within the intestinal chromaffin cells, platelets, and specific 5-HT containing serotonergic neuron of the brain. In the summary, we can see the first step is the tryptophan is being converted into the serotonin. Second stage, the transporter molecule VM80 transports serotonin into vesicles. After the storage, when the body requires or somewhere there is an allergic reaction, there is an exocytosis of these serotonin from the storage vesicles, that is the release. Third stage, after the release, it will act on the various receptors. After that, it will be degraded and some amount of serotonin is again recaptured, that is known as reuptake, and reloaded into the vesicles. Now the mode of action of serotonin. The serotonin acts via receptors. Now the types of receptors. These receptors are known as serotonergic receptors. On the basis of pharmacological criteria, these are two types. One is musculotropic and second one is neurotropic. Musculotropic are known as D type and neurotropic is known as M type. 5-HT receptors are classified based on molecular characterization and cloning of the receptor cDNA. There are 4 families of receptor named as 5-HT1, 5-HT2, 5-HT3 and 5-HT4. It is comprising of 14 receptor subtypes. Except 5-HT3, all the receptors are GPCR type. It means G protein coupled receptor type receptors. This 5-HT3 is ligand gated channel receptor. This 5-HT1 is again having some subtypes. Those are 5-HT1A, B, D, E and F. 5-HT2 are having 3 subtypes, that is 5-HT2A, 5-HT2B and 5-HT2C. 5-HT4 is also having 3 subtypes, that is 5-HT5, 5-HT6 and 5-HT7. pharmacological action of serotonin or 5-hydroxytryptamine. These larger arteries and veins are characteristically constricted. In the microcirculation, 5-HT dilates arteriole and constrict venules. Capillaries pressure rises and fluid escapes. 5-HT has a complex action. In animal, it produces triphasic response after the injection. What is triphasic response? It means the response present in 3 phases. The first one, early sharp fall in BP, that is due to the coronary chemoreflexes. Second phase is brief rise in blood pressure, that is due to vasoconstriction and increased cardiac output. And the third phase is prolonged fall in BP, that is due to the arterial dilation and extravasation of fluid. It means the 5-HT has a complex action on the cardiovascular system. Smooth muscles. It has a potential stimulator of GIT both by direct action as well as enteric plexus. Several subtypes of 5-HT are present in the gut. Therefore, peristalsis is increased and diarrhea can occur. It also constricts the bronchi. In the glands, it inhibits the gastric secretion, both acid and pepsin. Effect on nerve endings and adrenal medulla. Afferent nerve endings are activated. Due to that, there are some effects like tingling, pricking sensation and pain. Respiratory and cardiovascular reflexes, that is nausea and vomiting. Effect on the respiration. There is a brief stimulation of respiration and hyperventilation. When we administer the large dose, it can cause apnea through coronary reflexes. Effect on the platelets. It causes changes in shape of platelets. Next effect on the CNS. When injected, it does not produce central effect because it does not cross the blood-brain barrier. But when serotonin is injected directly into the brain, it produces sleepiness. Pathophysiological role of serotonin. It's having various pathophysiological roles. One by one we'll discuss. First one, as a neurotransmitter. 5-HT is probably involved in sleep, temperature regulation, thought process, cognitive function, behavior and mood. It also having the effect in vomiting and pain perception. It is a precursor of melatonin also in the pineal gland. It is believed to regulate biological clock and maintain circadian rhythm. Next, third one, neuroendocrine function. Hypothalamic neuron that control role of anterior pituitary and regulated by 5-HT. It's also having the role in nausea and vomiting. Nausea due to cytotoxic drug are mediated by the release of serotonin and acts via 5-HT3 receptor in the gut, area postrema and tactus solitarius. Next pathological role is migraine. It will be believed that 5-HT initiate vasoconstriction phase of migraine and participate in neurogenic inflammation. Methylsergid, a drug which are used to control migraine. It acts on the 5-HT. It is a 5-HT antagonist. hemostasis, as we have discussed, platelet are having 5-HT. It means platelet release 5-HT during at the site of injured blood vessels and accelerate platelet aggregation and clot formation. It means we can say the cascading effect or cascading blood clot is initiated by the platelet. It means it's having the role in the blood clotting. The drugs acting 5-HT system. Tryptophan increases brain 5-HT and produces behavioral effect. Some synthesis inhibitors, parachlorophenylalanin selectively inhibits tryptophan hydroxylase and reduces 5-HT level in tissues. Uptake inhibitor, as we have discussed during the biosynthesis, that after the effect of serotonin, the serotonin few amount is reuptake by the cell, or we can say the vesicles. If we will provide some uptake inhibitor, then we can increase the effect of serotonin. Reserpine blocks 5-HT uptake into storage granules and causes depletion of cell monoamines. Degradation inhibitors, non-selective MAO inhibitor, selective MAO inhibitors, chlorogallin increases 5-HT content by preventing its degradation. Non-selective 5-HT agonist activates subtype of 5-HT receptor including 5-HT1A, 5-HT2A, C and 5-HT5 to 7. It antagonizes 5-HT2A receptor in the ileum. Next drug is azapirones like buspirone, gepirone act as partial agonist of 5-HT1A receptor in the brain. Other drugs, those are selective 5-HT1B, 1D agonist, most effective in the treatment of acute migraine attack. Cisapride is another one. It is a prokinetic drug, increases GIT motility. Selective 5-HT4 agonist. 5-HT receptor antagonist, cyproheptadine, methylsergate, ketanserin, clozapine, risperidone and ondansetron. This is all about the serotonin, its synthesis, effect and their receptors. Thank you.